is making it up for a very good build up to the show.
Yeah.
And I'd like to start by talking about dignity of labor. And what is dignity of labor? It's actually a sense of your own importance and value, right? The fact of being given honor and respect by people, right? And what is labor actually, in order to understand what the phrase completely dignity of labor means? Labor means your work or your profession. So what this word means basically is dignifying your labor, people giving you respect that you deserve, importance and value, right? Giving honor because of your work and your profession. Now, it's important to note that before anybody sees your worth, then you must have put in work, right? You must have
put in effort.
Yes, abide to several ethics and values that guide your profession. And why it's beautiful to see that a lot of professions have ethics and values is because without any control, then you're most likely to get out of control. Everybody would just behave like barbarians because there's actually no code of conduct. And for every organized society, for every organized institution, you need a code of conduct.
Yes.
And then as an individual, you should also derive pride, right, in whatever it is that you're doing. And you should also have a sense of wanting to be respected, wanting to be seen with value, because your work does not only represent you alone. There are a lot of things that are binding you. If you're self-reliant, maybe you have a business of your own, you represent the company and whoever it is that are working under you, right? So there needs to be something that aligns you with every other person. And then if you are working for someone else, then you are representing that company and everything that they stand for, right? But in other words, why am I saying this? It's because now you need to understand that it's not all on your own. Do you get? You have to, it's beyond all of that. You have to also see the angle of you liberating other people to want to work to that profession. Now, if you see, I tell a lot of people that if you have that worth, if you have dignified your labor, then people would see the reason why they should value you. Now, in terms of numeration, right, in terms of respect, right, they would see when you charge them, they are seeing the reason why, okay, you're charging them that kind of amount, right, for the value that you give. So it's important that we have this conversation, especially in a domain where everybody is just nonchalant to their role and responsibility. And as a nation, as we stand, a lot of things are are deteriorating, right? And it has a direct impact on our economy, right? A lot of things are, if every institution, right, stood up to their mandate and did what they ought to do, and then the government or whoever it is that is in charge of the numeration and adopting whoever it is that would be part of any strategy or structure would see the value that you bring into the table. You don't run away from value. You would always invite value to the table. But if maybe in the past you are known for siphoning funds, for instance, of not putting a lot of effort, for not delivering on time. These are all ethical codes of conduct, right? Maybe in terms of what our national core values are, for you not to be disciplined, right? For you not to dignify your labor, for you not to be a person of integrity, right? Then nobody would want to work with you. Nobody would see your value. And then the numeration you so much crave for, a lot of people would think is unjustified. So even when they are trying to say, let's add this money, there will be an argument. What is this person really, what value is this person really bringing to the table? So I'll maybe just take a break here.
Okay.
All right. When we're talking about dignity of labor, I don't think it's something that you can, like, I don't know how to explain this now, but it's something that you have to do for you.
Yeah.
It's something that you have to do for you. Because there are many times where you see people are masters in their craft. They literally know what they're doing. You can say for a fact that these people know what they do, but people don't dignify their labor, or people don't respect what they do. So it's something that you have to do personally for yourself. If you dignify your labor, others will be forced to see the importance of the value that you bring to the table.
Indeed.
You see, and you see, when I tell people that it's very important for you to dignify your labor, people think that it's just a conversation. There are some negotiations that you can never have if you're not a person of value. Say, for instance, as a journalist now, as a broadcaster, if you are not dignified in your labor, if you have not separated yourself with the number of or the kind of value you bring to the table, or the quality of service that you offer where you are, if you have not done that, there are certain requests that you cannot make, and there are certain negotiations that you can never have. You see, so a lot of times we're guilty of commonizing our labor. So people say, is it not just to talk on radio? But I say it's not just to talk on radio. It's far more than that. If it's just to talk on radio, anybody can walk up here and talk on radio. But there is a way that Martha would do it. There's a way that Rachel would do it. There's a way that Kamal would do it, and no other person would be able to do it. And I take pride in the fact that, I know what I'm doing, and there is my way that I get to do something. But you see, if we commonize our labor, we say it's just to talk on radio, it's nothing there. Because I used to be guilty of that. When someone says, oh, I see the way you're talking on radio, I'm like, it's just talking on radio, it's nothing. It's not just talking on radio. And it's just nothing. It's not just nothing. It takes a lot of time. It takes intentionality. It takes research and composure to be able to do whatever it is you're doing. And not everybody can have all four qualities. Not everybody can embody all four qualities. I cannot be a plumber. It's not because I commonize plumbing, but because there are technicalities involved in plumbing that I don't know. So if I see a plumber, it would be foolish of me to disrespect a plumber because I think it's just plumbing. The same thing, we just talked about farming. People just think it's just farming. It's just agriculture. But there are people who will put in little effort and get multiple results because they have dignified their labor by learning all that they need to about that particular craft, learning all that they need to about partnerships, about the types of farming, what is obtainable here. These are efforts that you cannot just commonize because it is farming. So we are looking at having a society where people take pride in what they do. So someone walks up to you and tells you, is that one a job? I've met someone who say, you are working on radio, is that one a job? You get? Or you are a farmer, is that one a job? Is that one a profession? These are the things that push people into looking for shorter ways to make money. So we now have a society where criminology is now upheld. You know, we celebrate criminals much more than we celebrate people. So because we saw someone who engages in internet fraud and made money over a period of 4 nights or 3 nights, now we encourage them. We praise them out of proportion so much because I don't have as much money as an internet fraudster. This is what we encourage. The disrespect people have for labor. So if everybody now starts to dignify their labor, this is what I'm doing, and not everybody can do it. Not because not everybody has the power to, but if you submit yourself to learning, if you submit yourself to research, you will be able to do it. But again, I will not commonize my craft because you think it is not craft enough.
All right, so talking about that, now I'm going to come to Mr. Innocent Obasi. All right, so talking about dignity of labor, let's bring it down to Nigeria. Do you see that happening? Are we there yet?
Well, what I would say is this, and before I start, I would say it's a privilege to be here, honestly.
You're welcome.
All right, dignity of labor in Nigeria. Honestly, a lot of young people these days, like Martha has said, they are not really invested into getting into work and working hard to meet ends meet and all of that, you see, because there has been an ideology that has been portrayed these days. You see a lot of people going into things that are illegal, criminals,
and being celebrated for it.
So you see a lot of young people, they will be like, okay, if I should take this route, it's going to take me the next 5 years to at least gain some level of stamina and stature in this business, even before I start earning as much as I want to do the things I want to do. So they look for the shorter cut. But the challenge is this: we have to change and reconstruct the mindset and the value system of people. You see, many people, what they are more interested in is profit over impact. You see, but when you see someone whose motive is impact, the person would honor their labor and stay true to it until they gain some level of mastery in it, and then keep providing value, being competent in what you're doing. A time will come, that profiting will come, and it will come in such a way that you can never go down again because you've built stamina. But when you see these people who go into illegal things that they do, their success, I've watched over time, their success doesn't last long. It doesn't last long. They stay for some time, do all of the things they want to do, and after some time they just go down. You stop hearing about them. You see, so the mentality has to be this: what exactly do you want to do as a person? What exactly do you want to be known for? Because anything that is supposed to last long, it's not built so fast.
In
it takes
one
time.
day, of course.
It takes time.
Of course.
You see, so if my mindset and my mentality is just to get the money and impress people, then there will be no dignity of labor in my heart. I would not be interested to stay for some time and focus on the work and build stamina. You see, but if my goal is to impact people, if my goal is to provide service that solves a person's problem, add value to a person and then be rewarded for it. So I believe the problem is the mindset. If we are able to change the mindset, and for the people who have succeeded in coming up through dignity and honor in their labor, I believe we should come out more and speak, so that the young people will be influenced and they would see that, okay, truly, if you go this route, the right route, the right way, that there is still light at the end of the tunnel. You see this, that you can still be appreciated, honored and celebrated all over the globe if you follow the right route.
Thank you, Innocent. And of course, talking about that, you know that there are some private parastatals, like non-governmental organizations, that appreciate their workers that have stopped working with them. Like there are organizations that I know of, I can't mention yet, but once you work with them for about 10 to 15 years, and you're maybe traveled or married, and you're no longer working with them, they have a gratuity, they have something they give to you, and I appreciate them for doing that a lot. Anyways, people, this is the National Core Value segment of the Midday Extra Show here on Eagles 102.3. Your radio experience. You can count on Martha and Holy Ray are still in the building, and we are having a discussion about dignity of labor, and that is because Martha, today is a public holiday. Of course, they are having dignity already on their level. They are resting.
You guys understand? We're here on the public holiday.
All right, guys, that is that. Martha Holy Ray sure have a way of making you smile. And of course, even when you don't feel like smiling, you will sure smile when we talk to you. So we are going to go on a quick break, and when we come back, we will keep up the conversation. Don't you go nowhere.
From Milky Way to Earth, everywhere there's internet, you can connect with Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. Log on to our website www.eaglesfm.com. Follow and engage with us now on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok at Eagles FM Abuja, Instagram at Eagles FM 1023. Download our apps on your Android and iOS stores. Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, your radio experience you can count on.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
2.3 FM Abuja, here to stay.
All right, people, thanks for staying with us. This is the Midday Extra Show, and on this segment we are talking about the national core values and of labor, and talking about dignity of labor. I am here doing my best of what I know how to do with Martha alongside, of
Well,
course.
let me ask you a question.
We're doing what we know
Why
how
are
to
you
do.
doing what you're doing?
Because I love doing it. I enjoy doing it. I've got passion doing what I do.
Chijoke, why are you doing
So
what
you see,
Because I love what I do, and then I impact people. So
Okay.
Do you want to ask me?
Yeah.
Of course.
So my life is all about impact, making things right, and I love my country, Nigeria. I dignify my country, Nigeria, and that's why it's most paramount that I put it out there for people to know our worth, for my brothers and sisters to also align. We collectively put our nation in the light that it deserves to be.
Yeah, so irrespective of all of us doing what we know how to do, this part, we're just on our own. If you're being appreciated or you're not appreciated, like, I don't care if Martha is telling me right now that I love how you do your things. I don't even care if Martha is going to say, Holy Ray, come here, come back here, madam, come.
Because you're always running.
You know, but she knows very well that if she said do this thing, I'm definitely going to give it my best shot, because I love what I do and I enjoy what I do. But there are a lot of persons out there who do this job just because of the salary that is involved.
Okay, so I was going to.
Yes.
I don't think it's bad to be doing a job because you want to earn from it, because it's
Yeah.
also very responsible for you to want to earn honorably so that you can live up to your responsibilities. Remember, you have families, you have friends, you have people to take care of. But beyond earning that salary, I feel like we're all here for a purpose. You know, your church tells you that, your mosque tells you that as well. But I think that we all have a contribution to make where we are. So it's just for you to understand where you are right now and why you're here. If you understand where you are and why you are here, then you know what your contribution should be. most likely. So while we're getting the job and we're earning, because earning is it's part of the reward for labor. So if you eliminate that, you will be shortchanging yourself. And this is what most people say. Because I love what I do does not mean I should not earn from what I do. It's my right. So I deserve to. And in fact, because you're doing what you're doing, how you're supposed to be doing it, you can demand for certain things. You can demand for certain privileges where you are. So a lot of times we mistake the fact that the fact that we love what we do. We mistake it for not getting the reward that is commensurate to what we're doing, and that's a very big mistake, because a worker deserves his wage. That's what the good book says, at least. And I'm sure the Quran has something to say about that.
Pay your worker his wages before his sweat even dries up.
Exactly. So the fact that we're talking about dignifying your labor, in fact, earning is part of dignifying your labor. And that's why you see people who own private companies, they are also encouraged to reward themselves, because there's something that it does to you as a person. If you do, it's just like you say you want to make impact, and with what you're doing, and you're doing this and there's no impact, you're not seeing the results of what you're doing. It's very discouraging. So we're talking about the core values because we want people to now start to have the right attitude towards life and their country as well. So if we talk about this every single week and we see that people still go about doing what they want to do, they don't care about their country, they curse out their country, it's very discouraging. At some point you might say, you know what, let me give up on this conversation because I don't think anybody's hearing what we're saying. You see, so the reward of this conversation is supposed to be a changed behavior. It's supposed to be a changed attitude towards your country. So that's the reward. It's the same thing that money does to your job. I don't know if that makes sense. But again, don't because we are quick to say it's not all about money. It's also about money.
Yeah, but let's look at it from the
impact.
angle where we don't even get to appreciate each other due to the fact of, let me use the over familiarity. For instance, you are an MC, right? And because I know that Martha is an MC, so why should you get paid for coming to MC my event? You're my friend. Come out, talk about that. Because before we talk about our employers or employees, we have to also, respect ourselves from a particular field.
I actually love the fact that in your build up to asking me the question, you highlighted respect a lot. Right?
Of course.
And you see why respect is reciprocal. When you do something, right? Everybody has something they are doing, and you want people to respect you. Then you should also find a way to respect other people too. Number one, first and foremost, you can't MC an event, and that's why you're calling for my attention.
My
right?
services.
And that's why dignity of labor is actually very important. Because trust me, for the people who will condescend your profession, right, they will go and pay somebody even a lot more. Maybe
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
you're even better than, a lot more, because that person have dignified his labor. Maybe he wears a suit, and right, his oratory, he pays attention and put in a lot of work
Effort.
in order to perfect it. He learns one or two jokes. He finds a way to maybe be a toastmaster,
Of
learn
course, and
the
improve
act of
himself
public-
in the
improve
field.
himself. By so doing, whatever you showcase, right? People call your dog what you call it. However it is you present yourself is the way that other person who is employing your labor would see you. How you appear is the way you appear is the way people would maybe
Well,
end up
address you.
addressing you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the issues at hand when it comes to people condescending on people's profession. Secondly, it's actually from an angle of the individual condescending with the worth of what you do. I would like to encourage people who are artisans, who provide any kind of service actually, to stop settling for less, especially when you know that it's not commensurate to what you're given. I think what is wrong is that when maybe you're trying to give out your enumeration and then you overshoot it, right? That's different. And then you get priced down for it. But when you know that, okay, whatever it is that is being presented to you does not really reflect the actual cost of things, and you know that it's going to, in such a way, undignify, if there's such a word, your profession, then I feel like there's that option of walking away. Because you didn't earn from a customer or a service does not mean that you would never earn again. It's just a way of presenting your value, showing your worth, right, and maintaining the status quo, just so that you do not spoil the profession and commonizing, right, because of maybe greed. However, there is always an exception. If at any point you want to maybe just consider, you should make it very clear that
That it
this
is
is an
a-
exceptional
Yes.
consideration,
Yes.
Yes.
right? Because once you don't make it that clear, and then the person feels like, okay, we priced it down, it might just commonize your profession, and at the end of the day, condescend your worth.
Of course,
Right.
And the
you
person
continue
might
to
even-
devalue
Yeah.
They
yourself
might even
devalue
transfer
yourself.
it from you
Yeah.
to somebody
to
else.
somebody
practicing
else.
it.
Yes.
Do you know, at one time I was making up. So I have siblings who they tried many times to learn, but they can't. And then they'll say, I want to go out, please just come and make me up. And I'm like, if I'm going to charge somebody 20,000, you pay me 10,000.
At least.
And that's because you are family.
Yes.
Because if you say, is it not just makeup? Well, I can take everything you need
And start doing it
If
yourself.
you can do it, you do it. So I don't even play. It's because we don't teach people these things from our own circle.
Yeah.
Here, you know what we do with voiceovers.
Of
People
course.
say, just run a voiceover for me. I will buy you a chat card.
Like,
Like,
seriously?
Are you joking? You know, and they say it's not just your voice. But it's not just your voice. There's a character that you assume
Of course.
when you're doing
Once you're
voiceovers.
doing that.
But if you don't know it, you don't know it.
Yeah.
So if I want to do it for you because you are family or you're close, I will take something, but it will not be what I'll take from everybody.
Yeah.
Just so you know that I'm doing that for you. It's a special consideration, like you said.
Just like you
Don't
said.
just do things just like that because it's family. Okay, there are people that you might do these things for just like that. But again, I think we had
have
that
to let
conversation.
them know.
Yes, you have to
Yeah.
let them, aside from letting them know, people don't have relationships with people just like that.
At all.
There's always going to be an exchange of
And
value.
yes.
So if my exchange of value is service to you,
Yeah.
you most likely have something that you would give to me in exchange for that. So we might not do exchange right now. You're
Yeah.
giving me money for my service, but I know that on a long run, this relationship can fetch me much more than the money that you're
Indeed.
supposed to pay me. So I will do that for you.
Yeah.
But again, we both understand that this exchange is about value and something. But there's always going to be something in exchange.
Of course.
The moment you do it without an exchange of something in mind, people
You'll
will
be taken
commonize
for
it.
granted,
People
yeah.
will commonize it.
You'll be taken for granted.
You see people, it happens many times.
Mm-hmm.
You see people doing their job and they'll be like, is it not just that job? Is it not just that thing?
This word just.
It's just, you know.
Just. You see, even when you were talking about the voiceover, now someone would say, is it not just a voiceover? Now, I know that before you got to the point where people can hire you to make a voiceover for them, it took a lot of hours for you to build competence.
Yes.
So what people are paying for is not the voiceover you are doing. They are rewarding you for the hours you've put into gaining mastery
Yes.
to be able to do that voice note that makes whatever it is they want to promote or advertise be heard by the people. You see, that is one. People must honor the sacrifice others have made. And then secondly, relationships. Relationships. Now, somebody shouldn't just let's say want to, because you guys have a relationship, want to trivialize what you bring to the table or the value you bring to the table. No, even if the only place where I believe that should maybe the person is talking about bringing down prices and all of that is when the person truly does not have it.
Yes.
But let me tell you, someone who is your true friend should honor you to the point that they want to
They pay
even
you
pay
your worth.
more
Yeah.
more than you are worth. If truly the person is a friend, then through your own discretion you can say, oh, that is not necessary, let's do this, let's do that. You see, that is what I've
That's for
free
someone.
stuff.
Yes,
We
sir.
like free stuff.
Yes,
A
sir.
lot. You see, you do it for someone to that, and you know why I don't encourage people to do it for free? Because the person you did it for free today is not going to be ashamed to come back tomorrow
At
and
all,
ask
and
for that
ask for the
service
same
for
service.
free. This is where we are. People like free stuff, you know, and you as a person that is demanding value or demanding people paying you your worth, you should also be willing to pay people for what they are worth.
So I want to say three things because of this conversation.
Okay.
One of them is a typical example of what had just been said, right? A cousin of mine, I wanted to patronize her, but I hadn't patronized her before. And when I spoke to her about it, she's just like, you know what, don't worry, I'll get it done, I'll give it to you, and that's all. I would have just said okay and then bye. But I understand this thing quite differently. I had to suggest to her, don't you think even though you're doing it for me for free, I feel like I should subsidize it, right?
Yeah.
Because you're buying fabrics, you're buying, and your intention when you bought all of these things was for your business, right? So how about I subsidize it and then everything? Then we came to an understanding, and she told me the next time you will be paying for the what or even more, right? And I was okay with it, and that was the only reason why I accepted that step. Another thing is about collecting gifts for free. It also devalues you, kind of. And
There are a
you're
lot of
losing
people
your
that do
strength,
that.
right? Because you collect and collect and collect.
And you never
And
give.
Tomorrow, when you want to fight for your own value,
It's hard.
you
You have already
because
eaten
of
it.
you have eaten it already.
You have eaten it.
And you will be devalued, right? You would end up being devalued because you have accepted
Yes.
like a lot of gifts.
And
Right?
you know, Kamal,
Yeah.
when you get into relationships with people from a need point
Point of view.
you have just succeeded in making yourself a slave. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I don't like to be in a position where I cannot talk
Yeah.
when because you have done something.
Yes,
I must
yes,
stop.
yes.
So just collect your money, because me, I will talk. You know, it takes away your
Your leverage, the leverage you have.
If you have
right?
been in this position, you understand. When people keep
So
giving you
much
things,
without you give.
so much so that they buy your freedom. Nobody should be able to
That's it.
afford your
Yeah.
freedom. Nobody should be able
Then
to
when they do
afford
something wrong, you
Yeah.
cannot
You cannot talk
reprimand
about
them
it.
because you are scared of
you have
the
collected.
gifts.
So,
Anyways,
just
we
have your
don't,
gifts right for
we don't have
Paul,
much
Joe.
time. We have a few minutes, of course, to wrap up the segment. So I'm just going to ask Mr. Chiji, okay, to give us a word for the road. What is your advice
That's how he opens his
to
eyes.
everyone that is listening to us this afternoon as to what we can do to ensure that we imbibe the dignity of labor?
All right. What I would say is this. You know, people usually get into things when they know the results they'll be getting out of it. So there is profitability in dignity of labor. Just keep that in your mind. There is profitability in dignity of labor. Forget what people say and what they portray that There is no need for you to work so hard in what you're doing and all of that. No, it's wrong. You see, when you want to make sustainable impact, impact that lasts over time, impact that is even immortalized, you have to work hard. You have to work so hard. You see, so there is profitability, both profitability in terms of impact, influencing people, and financial profitability. So what I would advise, especially